now to the second of our topics this week. We're going back 12 months, a year, to your article that you wrote, which now is extremely prophetic.
That's right, Jay. So on Dorset Eye, just over a year ago, on the 7th of May last year, we posted an article I'd written titled "Shock Over Leaked Cabinet Meeting Transcript." And it says the following transcript has been leaked to Dorset Eye and appears to be from a government cabinet meeting held on the 16th of March. So the middle of March period was very covered, was covered in great detail by Cummings yesterday, when the government had to sort of change plan from herd immunity to something else, to sort of Plan B, and was obviously, just before they finally locked down for the first time, too late to avoid a lot of death. So yeah, it was a satirical article, but I just thought it would be quite fun just to read it as a script to our viewers, because extraordinary really that I wrote this just over a year ago, and it wasn't meant to be prophetic, but sadly it's proven to be. So the transcript shows that the people present at the meeting were Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, Priti Patel, Dominic Raab, Michael Gove, Matt Hancock, Alok Sharma, Liz Truss, Gavin Williamson, Therese Coffey, Dominic Cummings, and one or two other people. So the transcript goes like this. So I'm just going to read it out like a script. Johnson: good afternoon, everyone. So, as we all know, we've faffed around for ages, and now the scientists at Imperial are saying we are, as they say, in excremento. We've had a day or two to mull it over, and hopefully we've had some good ideas on how to make it look like we're doing a good job. Servant: sorry, Miss Patel, would you like tea or coffee? Patel: let me be very clear, I'll have coffee. Johnson: okay, so where are we on PPE, Matt? Raab: he can't do PPE today, he's got a sick note from his mum. Gove sniggers. Hancock: well, as we know, we're way behind on both stockpiles and procurement, but I've come up with a good wheeze. Johnson: that's hilarious. I'm going to use that. I'll work it in as a ventilator joke unless I can think of something else. Hancock: so as we've said before, the public don't understand the difference between inputs and outcomes. They'll just be impressed with big numbers. So we're going to count every single item that goes to hospitals as an item of PPE that we've secured. Individual gloves, paper towels, each one, disinfectant, cleaning fluids, bin bags, toilet rolls. Williamson: sorry, did you say you have toilet roll? It's just that we've been struggling as our local Asda's been inundated. And Cummings: yeah, can we speed this up? I have another meeting at 3. Johnson: well, that's splendid, Matt. And who's been working on the ventilators? Everyone looks around at each other. Hancock: I thought Priti was on it. Priti: let me be absolutely clear. I was no more on it than you were on Cygnus. Gove sniggers. Hancock: well, we can procure ventilators through our normal NHS procurement channels, general titters of amusement. Hancock: or we can join the EU procurement scheme, raucous laughter. Alok Sharma: can I remind everyone of our primary and guiding principle, to take public funds and give it to our wealthy friends, who in turn give some of it back. Truss: there do seem to be some very reliable ready-made ventilators available internationally. Johnson: that's hilarious, Liz, but I preferred the one about the cheese. Gove sniggers. Sharma: so I've lined up Dyson and JCB to make ventilators. Johnson: what, actually make them? Gove sniggers. Sharma: no, one makes vacuums and one makes tractors, for Christ's sake. They won't be actually making them. Let's just call it a midnight run to the Caymans. Johnson: excellent. Well, this brings us on to the grand plan, or maximo insidiarum, as I like to call it. Cummings coughs and looks at watch. Sorry, sir, says Johnson. In fact, perhaps you're better at explaining it. It was your idea. What was your old plan again? Cummings. Herd immunity, protect the economy, and if that means some pensioners die, too bad. Johnson. Yes. Could you perhaps alter the language somewhat, make it a little less incendiary? Cummings. Make me. Johnson. Okay, well, that was the old plan anyway. What's the new one? Cummings. In order to not let hospitals get visibly overrun, don't admit lots of the pensioners who are likely to die. Send them back to their care homes. And if that means most of those pensioners die, too bad. And whatever you do, don't test them, as we'll only count the deaths of those who test positive. Johnson. Excellent, sir. And how are we selling this to the plebs? Cummings. Stay at home, protect the NHS, save lives. Raab. You know, save lives is only 2 words, right? Deathly silence as Cummings stares at Raab, who looks down apologetically. Truss. If we need extra tests, I think I can get some from Johnson. Oh, shut up, Liz, and pass the cheese. Gove sniggers. Hancock. So the genius bit of the new plan is that instead of saying our main aim is to save lives, we'll keep saying our primary aim is to ensure the NHS is not overwhelmed. This way we can achieve our main aim simply by keeping people out of hospital. Rishi Sunak. Won't the public think our main aim should be to save lives? Gove sniggers. Johnson. You're new here, aren't you? Okay, which brings us neatly on to messaging. I asked the Mogster to come up with a few things, and being the walking thesaurus he is, he suggested throwing in words designed to impress the plebs. He advised we go with unprecedented, historical, monumental, and Herculean. Oh, and if our adjusted death toll still happens to be the worst in Europe, we should call it a success. It sounds like a stretch, but the man from Melbourne, he say yes. Hancock. Yes, and as we've been under the cosh over testing, Jacob suggested that rather than unveil our simple 5-point plan, we call it our 5 pillars. Sounds so much more gothic. Johnson. The Mogster still not sleeping at night? Hancock. No. Cummings coughs and looks at watch. Johnson. Sorry, sir, I know you're in a rush. What time's your meeting of, I presume, the Eugenicists Society? Gove sniggers. Cummings. 3 o'clock. Gove abruptly stopped sniggering. Johnson. So that's PPE, ventilators, the grand plan, the death toll trick, and messaging. Just 2 items next. Burying bad news. What have we got? Patel. Let me be perfectly clear. The fact that the report into Windrush has said the Home Office showed institutional ignorance and thoughtlessness towards the issues of race has been buried very nicely. Johnson. There's no way we're racist. Look, we've even got a couple of you in here. Patel. Let me be completely clear, though. There are still calls to release the report into Russian interference in the EU referendum and the election, and their donations to the Conservative Party. Johnson. Well, we'll find a busy Friday afternoon to release it, shall we? A phone next to Johnson rings and he answers. Johnson. Hello? Oh, hello, Vladimir. Sorry, Premier Putin. Yes? Yes. Understood. Thank you. Johnson puts the phone down. Yeah, that report isn't going to be released. Okay, last item, mates, Rishi Sunak. So I've been working on a package of measures. One, my mates in banking are going to underwrite a furlough scheme, but it's okay. The public will pay for it over the next 30 years of continued austerity. 2, business loans. But the trick is my mates at the banks can set the interest rates themselves, and some are charging 30%. So bonuses all round. And 3, people are going to realise that £74 a week isn't enough to live on. So I'm bumping universal credit up by £20 a week. Johnson. A Coke straw? That's not a lot. Sunak. Okay, I'll make it £1,000 a year then. Johnson. That's better. Gove sniggers. Johnson. Okay, and if anyone asks, we're not delaying Brexit. I spoke to Crispin, and he's got the biggest bet ever on our economy going down the toilet from January. So no going back now. Pass the cigars, coffee, and the meeting ends.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
The Alok Sharma statement, as I said, was not meant to be prophetic, but of all of that, it strikes me as the most shocking thing, really, that I wrote that a year ago. And of course, the primary and guiding principle over the last year in terms of dealing with this pandemic certainly seems to have been from this government to take as much public funds as they possibly can and give it to their families, their friends, and their donors, who, of course, then give some of it back again.
And it's just finishing off. It's interesting as well, Tom, that the people that were very prominent and then virtually vanished, Rishi Sunak is one of them, to find out why it is that certain individuals, you know, if you remember Rishi Sunak about a year ago, they were saying this is the next PM. Almost as soon as they said it, something came out about him, and I can't remember what it was, but something came out about him and he vanished. We've hardly seen him since.
Yeah, well, I mean, lots of stuff about his past, you know, his incredibly wealthy family and his wife's, you know, particularly his wife's wealthy family came out, and you know, things like, you know, Rolls-Royce being kind of parts of Rolls-Royce sold off to his wife's wealthy family abroad for production abroad under their business, things like that. So yeah, and of course, like Sajid Javid before him, he was involved in the banking industry exactly when they were destroying the global economy and leading to, you know, decades of austerity for us all. He was a part of that, the same as Javid was. Yeah. Well, I hope our viewers enjoyed listening to that leaked cabinet transcript. You put at the bottom, in satire in name only, and yeah, that's proven to be the case, sadly.
Unfortunately, that's proven to be the case on so many levels.